What's going on with you guys? Are you working together?
I'm not. I mean, I think that we become friends in a strange way, you know?
Like Robin Big.
Yeah, it's like, exactly.
I'm Big and you're Robin.
Yeah. We definitely have our arms around and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person besides his talent. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know.
You got me a Lamborghini.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last time.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
And keep doing it. They're not fine, most of them. I mean, maybe there's a few. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible to do, but I'm saying the challenge of becoming a normal person with like a normal view of the world when, you know, you're getting doted on when you're 6 and you're the money maker in the house when you're a little kid, like your parents stop working to manage you, like that kind of
like those Carter kids.
Living in this shame, living in all this sort of stuff of my past, and I wasn't able to move on.
Do you think the person that the you of then was on a path of self-destruction?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure, 100%, yeah. It would have been no bueno.
And good luck when you're older. You know, Justin Bieber had a post the other day on his Instagram talking about all the drugs that he did when he was younger and how much it fucked him up. And now he's got a relationship with the Lord and he's got, you know, he's married and he's trying to be a normal person. Yeah. But he's struggling with the fact that he was insanely famous when he was a kid.
Let's not sugarcoat it. Justin Bieber has been through some seriously dark times, and for the longest time, he kept it all locked away behind the polished image of pop stardom. We've seen him smile on red carpets, sell out arenas, and break records, but behind the fame was a young man struggling, hurting, and trying to make sense of things that no teenager should ever have to deal with.
I don't know if I'd be alive for sure. It was dark, so I'm very, very grateful to have influences in my life that have played a huge part in me seeing their relationship with Jesus and their relationship with their wives and their relationship with their kids and saying that's what I want. But I want to definitely tell my story so that if that resonates to anybody, that they can hopefully learn from it.
For years, whispers floated around about what really went on behind the scenes during Justin's rise to fame. Allegations, odd industry connections, strange encounters, but the industry was quick to shut it all down, and Justin himself seemed determined to move forward without pointing fingers. He tried to bury it, to protect himself and maybe even to protect others, but now the silence is breaking, and it's breaking fast. As the bombshell Diddy trial continues to unfold, shocking new revelations are coming to light, and they're pointing towards some extremely disturbing behavior that may have affected young stars like Justin in ways we're only just beginning to understand. The name Diddy has been everywhere lately, tied to an avalanche of serious accusations involving manipulation, control, and abuse of power in the entertainment industry. And now, sources suggest that Justin Bieber was one of the young artists caught in that web. When Hailey Bieber found out what was allegedly done to her husband during those early days, she didn't hold back. According to insiders, she was furious, shaken, and absolutely devastated. Not just by what happened, but by the fact that Justin carried the weight of it all for so long without telling anyone. Imagine watching someone you love more than anything slowly unravel, never knowing the full reason why, until now.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn and everyone, you know, telling me they love me and, you know, just turn their back on you in a second. So if she ever needs me, I'm gonna be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters and
This isn't just a scandal, it's a reckoning. The world is finally starting to see the dark side of an industry that's often glamorized beyond belief. Justin's pain, once hidden behind music videos and world tours, is now rising to the surface. And so is Hailey's determination to stand by him and speak the truth. And now, as the Diddy case grows more intense by the day, attention is rapidly turning to the music mogul's past relationships with other high-profile celebrities. And one name that keeps coming up again and again is Justin Bieber.
How young I was and so impressionable. And you have everybody telling me how awesome I am at all times, you know, and like...
Yeah. It's like taking a kid and putting a kid in a room full of nothing but sweets.
Right.
And just saying, I'll be back in 2 days.
Exactly. I just want people to understand, like, the psychology behind why I potentially could have problems in my life. So yeah, thank you for being here and helping me tell that story.
Back when Justin was just a teenage sensation taking the world by storm, fans couldn't help but notice how often he was seen alongside Sean Diddy Combs. The two were photographed together at events, parties, and even inside Diddy's home. At the time, it seemed like nothing more than an older industry figure mentoring a rising star. But now, with everything that's being exposed in court documents and witness statements, those once innocent interactions are being re-examined under a very different lens. Combs, now 55, is facing serious federal charges, including transportation to engage in and racketeering conspiracy. He was arrested back in September and has since denied all wrongdoing, even rejecting a government plea deal that could have helped reduce the pressure. The legal battle is fierce, and the allegations are painting a picture of years, if not decades, of abuse of power in the entertainment industry. As these dark revelations continue to surface, people have started revisiting old videos, interviews, and moments between Diddy and Justin, wondering if there's more to those interactions than anyone realized back then. The speculation online has been relentless. Fans and critics alike are piecing together timelines, analyzing body language, and asking hard questions. But on Thursday, Justin Bieber, now 31, finally responded to the growing whispers. In a quiet but firm move, he dismissed the online speculation that he, too, might have been a victim of Combs. No dramatic statements, no media appearances, just a brief pushback as if to draw a line and keep things private. But for many, that hasn't been enough to silence the concern. Because even if Justin says he's fine, the public can see what he's been through. They've watched his breakdowns, his health struggles, his battles with mental health, and his sudden withdrawals from the spotlight. And now that we're seeing just how deep the rot might go in the industry that raised him, it's impossible not to wonder what he might have experienced and what he's still not ready to say out loud. And this is where Hailey comes back into the picture.
Felt there was a lot of resolution in my life. I'd seen her at an event. I'd seen her with a baby, and something just clicked, and it was like, wow, she's the one.
Were you nervous before you popped the question?
I was. I mean, that's a big commitment. My parents were never married. I never got to see what that really looked like. So I'm like, can I even do this? Do I even know what it looks like to do this? But I just felt like God was saying, I'll show you.
Sources close to the couple say Hailey has been devastated by the sudden rush of old memories being dragged back into the light. For years, she's stood by Justin through the ups and downs, and now, watching his name get dragged into the chaos surrounding Diddy has been a brutal emotional blow. Insiders say that when she found out some of the things Diddy is being accused of, and started thinking back to Justin's closeness with him when he was just a kid, she was shaken to her core. This isn't just about what may or may not have happened. It's about the fear of what could have happened. It's about years of silence finally cracking, of wounds that may never fully heal. It's about the painful reality that no amount of fame can protect someone from being used, manipulated, or harmed, and that the people closest to them often don't find out until it's far too late. The case against Diddy is growing. The evidence is mounting. And while Justin may not be ready to tell the full story, or maybe he never will, the world is beginning to put the pieces together, one uncomfortable truth at a time. In the wake of all this growing speculation, people close to Justin have finally spoken up, but not everyone's convinced by what they're saying. A representative recently told TMZ, although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve. Sounds official, sounds clean. But if you read between the lines, it almost feels like damage control. According to sources who spoke to TMZ, all those old public moments between Justin and Diddy, the glitzy parties, the flashy photos, the mentor-mentee narrative, they're calling it performative, just for show. And they're insisting that Justin's real connections were with Diddy's sons, not the mogul himself. But here's the thing. That explanation raises more questions than it answers. Because if it was all just for show, why is everyone suddenly working so hard to distance Justin now? Why the immediate push to make it clear he wasn't a victim, especially when he hasn't even said much himself? Insiders say it's intentional. They're trying to shield him. They don't want the media storm circling back to him while he's already in a fragile place mentally and emotionally. This isn't just about protecting Justin's name. It's about protecting his pain, and maybe even hiding parts of it. Let's not forget, Justin has been showing signs for years that something from his past wasn't sitting right. The emotional interviews, the sudden withdrawals, the cryptic captions, the raw songs. This is someone who has clearly been carrying weight on his shoulders for a long time, and now with the Diddy allegations blowing wide open, people can't help but connect the dots. And that's exactly what Hailey is afraid of, because she knows what he's battled behind closed doors. She sees the nights he can't sleep, the mood swings, the triggers, and now, watching the world circle back to that dangerous chapter of his life, it's no wonder she's breaking down. She's not reacting to speculation. She's reacting to what she knows. So while his team may be trying to shut down the narrative quickly, quietly, cleanly, the truth has a way of leaking through the cracks. People aren't buying the PR lines anymore. Not when the industry is finally being forced to confront its darkest secrets. Not when more and more victims are stepping forward and the dots just keep lining up. This isn't about dragging Justin into something he wants to forget. It's about finally acknowledging that maybe, just maybe, he's been carrying a piece of this mess all along. And no matter how much they try to say otherwise, the world is starting to see the pain behind the smile. Now, this is where things start to feel especially unsettling, because the timeline of Justin and Diddy's relationship doesn't just exist in vague memories or speculation. It's documented, it's online, and the footage is still out there hiding in plain sight. The two appear to have met in the earliest stages of Justin Bieber's career, shortly after he signed with Usher and Scooter Braun's RBMG label in 2008. Justin was only 14 years old, still a kid, still figuring out how to navigate fame, money, and the people around him. And among the earliest faces to enter his orbit, Sean Diddy Combs.
Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the deadlift.
By November 2009, a 15-year-old Justin uploaded a video to his official YouTube channel titled Justin Bieber's 48 Hours with Diddy. And watching it now, in the context of everything that's come to light, it hits differently.
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
In the video, Diddy appears with Justin and tells the camera, "You ever seen the movie 48 Hours?" A reference to the edgy 1982 buddy cop film starring Eddie Murphy. Then, while gesturing toward a silver Lamborghini, yes, a Lambo, Diddy announces, "Right now, Justin is having 48 hours with Diddy. They're having the times of their lives. Like, where we're hanging out and what we're doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream." Let that sink in. They can't really disclose where they were or what they were doing. This was a teenager, fresh off a record deal, being publicly gifted a sports car, filmed for social media, and essentially taken on a whirlwind, no-questions-asked dream weekend by a then elite music mogul twice his age. And it doesn't stop there. Diddy goes on to say, "I have been given custody of him. You know, he's signed to Usher, and I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. We're gonna go full. Buck, full crazy."
I'm tired of Usher. I wish somebody would come out and just like sue him. Like, we need Usher sued. No, we do. We need a victim to come out and be honest about him. Because what I'm realizing is that he's gonna fake the funk until the very man. He's just gonna keep on sucking the devil's. And I don't know, you know, like with a baby, that pacifier, sometimes you gotta pull it out. You know what I'm saying? And take it away, right? When the baby's used to sucking on the pacifier, that keep sucking on that what? So you take it out the mouth. Now it's gonna scream and holler, but eventually it will get used to the fact that his mouth is no longer full with that object. And that it's time to just, you know, learn how to live without it. He's been sucking on Diddy's time. It's time for him to learn how to make this thing happen without the devil's mouth or ass.
That kind of language might have been shrugged off at the time as a mentor playing around. But in today's context, with Diddy now facing federal charges including trafficking, related offenses and racketeering conspiracy, it sounds like something else entirely. Something eerily calculated. Something deeply inappropriate, even if it wasn't criminal on paper. And a lot of other people in the industry think Usher was in it with Puffy.
Like, people look at Usher, they don't see that. They're not seeing the victim. They're not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there. But you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
Then comes the part that really makes people's skin crawl. When Diddy asks Bieber what he wants to do with the day, and Justin responds, "Let's just go get some girls." Diddy, laughing, calls him a man after my own heart. This was a 15-year-old, on camera, talking about getting girls, with a grown man encouraging it. And now, years later, knowing what we know, it's not just awkward, it's disturbing. To this day, nobody in Bieber's camp has publicly addressed that video beyond the recent denial of victimhood. But for many watching from the outside, it feels like this was one of many red flags everyone ignored, a warning sign that something was off. That this level of access, power, and unchecked influence over a teenage boy wasn't just inappropriate, it was dangerous. And maybe that's what Hailey Bieber reacted to so strongly. Not just the headlines, not just the accusations, but the fact that this man, who is now being investigated for serious predatory crimes, was once joking about having custody of her husband when he was still a kid. And just when people thought the conversation around Justin and Diddy couldn't get more uncomfortable, another video resurfaced online. This one from about a year later, and it adds a whole new layer of tension to the story. In the clip, Justin is seen working in a recording studio, fully in his element, focused, calm, doing what he loves. Then, suddenly, Diddy walks in. The vibe shifts instantly. What starts as a casual interaction quickly takes on an awkward, almost confrontational tone. "What's up, man? You good? Selling out arenas and everything?" Diddy says with a smile. But then, just moments later, that smile fades and the energy changes. "Starting to act different, huh? You haven't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out," he says, his voice noticeably more pointed, almost resentful. Justin, clearly caught off guard, stutters a bit before answering. "Well, I mean, you tried to get in contact with me through all my partners and whatnot, but you never really got my number." Then Diddy replies, "So, you want my number? I'm gonna tell you my number." At face value, this exchange might seem harmless, just a mentor checking in on a young artist. But watching it now, with everything we've learned about Diddy's alleged behavior and the ongoing investigation, the moment feels tense, unsettling. Like there's something unspoken hanging in the air. Justin doesn't look relaxed. He looks cornered, like he's trying to navigate a tricky situation without offending someone who holds power over him. This isn't just a kid talking to a former friend. It feels like someone being reminded of who's really in control. It adds even more weight to the recent reactions from Hailey and Justin's camp, because now people aren't just speculating based on documents or anonymous accusations. They're looking at the videos with fresh eyes. They're seeing a young boy being drawn into a world he may not have been ready for, with someone who wasn't wasn't just watching from the sidelines, but actively trying to stay close, whether Justin wanted that or not. And while those around Bieber continue to downplay his involvement, these moments paint a more complicated picture. Not necessarily one of direct abuse, but one of manipulation, pressure, and power dynamics that no teenager should ever have to navigate, especially not in front of cameras, especially not in a studio where he should have felt safe. Now, with Diddy under the harsh spotlight of federal charges, every clip, every interaction, every so-called mentorship is being re-examined. And what people are seeing is deeply troubling. This is where things start to feel even more layered, and honestly, a little eerie in hindsight. Back in 2011, Justin and Diddy appeared together on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and it should have been a lighthearted segment, a young pop star and a veteran producer chatting about how they met. But when Kimmel asked about the origins of their friendship, Diddy gave a strangely cryptic answer. "We became friends in a strange way," he said, before adding, "We want to protect Justin because he's genuinely such a nice person besides his talents." At first glance, it sounds protective, supportive, even. But now, in light of everything that's come out, that comment reads very differently. What does "in a strange way" really mean? Why the need to qualify their connection like that? Then Kimmel brought up the infamous Lamborghini video, the one where Diddy gave a teenage Justin access to the car and his house. Diddy responded with a smile, but the words that followed weren't exactly reassuring. He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Everything ain't for everybody. That statement hit differently then. It hits even harder now, because whether it was meant as a joke or not, that line carries weight. He knows better than to be talking about the things he does with Big Brother Puff. That's not a mentor teasing his mentee, that's a veiled warning. A reminder, a message not just to Justin, but maybe to everyone else watching. Keep certain things behind closed doors. And from that point on, their public appearances together started to taper off. They weren't seen together as often. It was almost like a quiet distancing. Until 2014, when a shirtless Justin was spotted at one of Diddy's Ciroc vodka parties in Atlanta. He was only 20 years old at the time, still surrounded by a lifestyle that most people his age wouldn't even come close to. Then, years went by with barely a public interaction, until 2021. A clip emerged of the two greeting each other again, but even that felt off. In the video, Diddy appears to pat Justin down, leading some fans to speculate that he might have been checking whether Bieber was wearing a wire. That's a heavy accusation. But in the context of federal investigations and the way the internet reanalyzes everything, it's not hard to see why people are asking those questions now. And strangely enough, despite all this, and despite everything we're learning about Diddy's alleged past, Justin showed up as a guest feature on Moments, a track from Diddy's 2023 album, The Love Album. Off the grid. No press tour, no promo, just a quiet vocal appearance that raised eyebrows given their history and the industry's increasing scrutiny of Diddy's actions. So, was Big Brother Puff making veiled warnings? Were those moments just harmless mentor banter, or something much more complex, manipulative, and controlling? No one's saying it out loud yet, but fans, critics, and even people inside the industry are watching these old clips with new eyes. And what once looked like playful mentorship is starting to feel like something much darker. When Diddy was arrested last year on a string of serious federal charges, the shockwaves didn't just hit the industry, they hit Justin Bieber hard. And according to those closest to him, the impact was almost immediate and deeply personal. Friends of Bieber told the Daily Mail that the singer was so unnerved by the allegations, he was close to completely shutting down. They painted a picture of someone blindsided, spiraling into silence, and emotionally overwhelmed. Bieber is so disturbed by the Diddy news and is unwilling to process it or discuss it, so he has shut off, one insider said. So many people who helped to make him who he is were very close to Diddy, and it has completely thrown him. That statement says a lot without saying everything, because it's not just about Diddy himself, it's about the larger circle around him. The producers, the managers, the industry figures who were all connected, knowingly or unknowingly, to something darker behind the curtain. And when Justin saw just how deep those ties ran, how close they were to the very foundation of his career, he didn't just flinch, he froze. They say he had distanced himself from Diddy during the years when many of the most disturbing allegations are believed to have occurred. That's an important detail. But the trauma isn't always about direct involvement. Sometimes it's about being close enough to feel the ripple effects. to realize later how much you didn't see or weren't allowed to see. And that realization alone can be paralyzing. One friend added that Justin's feature on Diddy's most recent album, the Love album, Off the Grid, 2023, wouldn't have happened had he known what was about to come out. Had he known any of this, there is no way he would have done it. That wasn't just a missed detail. It was a devastating misstep for someone who had tried so hard to reclaim control over his image and boundaries in recent years. Another source, speaking to People, said that Justin was trying to tune out the headlines altogether. It's not anything that he wants to focus on, they explained, adding that he preferred to remain in a happy bubble with Hailey and their newborn son. That bubble? It's more than just a metaphor. It's survival, because Justin Bieber has already lived through the pressure cooker of fame, the manipulation of the machine, and the emotional fallout of a childhood spent under bright lights and behind closed doors. And now, with the truth about some of the people he was once told to trust starting to emerge, he's doing what so many trauma survivors do. He's protecting what little piece he has left. For Hailey, watching him retreat, seeing that familiar numbness return, it must have been heartbreaking. That's not just a reaction to news headlines. That's a trigger. That's a wound being ripped open all over again. And maybe that's why she lost it when she found out the details. Not just because of what Diddy allegedly did, but because of what Justin remembers, or what he's tried for years not to remember. And now, as the case against Diddy continues to unfold and the connections grow clearer, it's getting harder to pretend the past never happened, even for someone who's been trying so hard to live in the present. While the Diddy case exploded in headlines and the industry was reckoning with years of buried secrets, behind closed doors, Justin and Hailey Bieber were going through one of their darkest chapters yet, and almost no one saw just how bad things had gotten. Sources close to the couple say that as the news broke and more details about Diddy's alleged crimes came to light, Justin began spiraling emotionally and mentally. At first it was subtle. He withdrew, stopped responding to people, became more reclusive. But then it turned into something deeper, something darker. People around him said it was like he was slipping away, shutting down in real time. And for Hailey, it was terrifying. She's been by Justin's side through the breakdowns, the public scrutiny, the fragile recovery from addiction, and all the chaos that came with his early fame. She's seen the lowest lows, but this felt different, more personal, more threatening, because she knew what he wasn't saying. She knew that something from the past was hitting him in a way that nothing else had, and she didn't know if he could handle it. Insiders say Hailey was really, really sad, even scared, because it felt like they were both sinking fast. She could see it happening in front of her, Justin's energy fading, his coping mechanisms breaking down, and her own emotional resilience starting to crack. She felt like she was going down, and he was going down too. The weight of it all was suffocating. The worst part? Justin had already been in a vulnerable place for a long time. People see the public appearances, the social media posts, the music, and assume everything's fine. But behind the scenes, he's been struggling for years with anxiety, depression, PTSD, and he's been fighting to stay clean, to stay balanced, to stay present. Hailey knew how fragile that balance was, and this new wave of trauma triggered by the Diddy news threatened to destroy everything they'd built. She feared it might actually break him. There were moments, according to people close to the couple, where Hailey thought she was watching him unravel right in front of her, the silence, the outbursts, the sleepless nights, the memories he wouldn't talk about, the pain that kept showing up in his eyes when no one was watching. And then there was her. Hailey was trying to be strong for both of them, trying to keep the peace, the calm, the routine. But privately, she admitted to close friends that she felt like she was on the verge of breaking too.
I'm trying to figure out how to navigate being married. I'm friggin' married now, and I got the best wife in the world. She supports me through so much. I'm really honored to be her husband, and I just...
Really? You've made a whole album about it.
Yeah. It's, this is an album I wrote in the first year of our marriage, so it's like there's so much more to learn about commitment and, building trust and foundation. I'm looking forward to continuing to build and make music that's going to reflect that.
That's what's great about Changes. It's a honeymoon record.
Yeah, exactly.
So when did you know you wanted to get in the studio and feel inspired?
She'd worked so hard to stay grounded, to not go back to that dark place, to not be swallowed by anxiety or depression, to not fall into the same patterns of self-doubt, fear, and emotional isolation that haunted her before. But this storm was shaking everything. The trauma wasn't just his anymore. It was bleeding into their life together, their home, their future. She told friends that she was terrified, not just for Justin, but for herself. She was scared that if things didn't calm down, if he didn't pull through, it would drag her back into the dark too. And with a newborn baby in the mix, the stakes had never been higher. This wasn't just about surviving the headlines or managing PR. This was about surviving each other's pain. And there were nights, those closest to her say, where Hailey genuinely didn't know if they would make it through. And Justin also saw what he was doing to his wife without meaning to.
I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. Yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
Because when someone you love is falling apart and you're barely holding on yourself, there's no script, there's no easy fix. Just two people trying to keep from drowning while the weight of an entire industry's secrets crashes down around them. And for Hailey, watching Justin face the ghosts of his past without any real way to stop it was the hardest thing she's ever done. Hailey's feelings about all this aren't just sadness and fear, they're turning into something much sharper: anger, real, fierce, protective anger. After watching Justin struggle for years, fighting through the mental battles, the pressure of fame, and the heavy weight of trauma, Hailey now sees a large part of that pain tied directly back to Diddy, and she's furious. Furious that someone she once respected, someone who was supposed to be a mentor or a guide in Justin's early life, could have caused so much damage. To Hailey, Diddy isn't just a music mogul or a celebrity. He's a horrible human being who preyed on someone she loves when he was at his most vulnerable. Someone who should have been protecting Justin instead of exploiting or manipulating him. She's angry because Justin's pain was hidden for so long, because the world only saw the surface, the success, the parties, and the performances, but missed the real story underneath. And she's angry that Justin had to carry that burden largely in silence, while others turned a blind eye. Hailey's frustration runs deep because she knows how hard Justin fought to keep his demons at bay. She knows how close he's come to breaking under the strain. And now she sees clearly that Diddy's actions played a huge part in putting him there in the first place. So, what do you think? Comment down below and let us know. If you liked this video, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be the first to see my next video. I post updates like this every week where I uncover the secrets of your favorite celebrities